show, Grizzly, bitch.
What up, Militia? I'm Joe Grizzly, and when I'm not unleashing an ancient entity via my paranormal podcast, I'm at the Grizzly Cave, watching a review of movies while, of course, crushing beers. And I'm about to bring y'all my review of the latest A24 film, Undertone, allegedly the scariest movie that you will ever hear. And just like with most A24 releases, this movie is getting a lot of hype, but does it live up to that hype? Let's find out. This is Grizzly Grade Reviews. So Undertone is the story of a popular podcaster who moves back home to take care of her dying mother when her life is thrown into an absolute nightmare after receiving some very disturbing recordings via email. Now, ever since I saw the trailer for this movie, I was pretty hyped about it, and A24 is one of those studios that I have a love-hate relationship with. I feel like if they release 10 movies, that about 4 or 5 of them are good, so a little over half are good. So I was trying to temper my expectations. They're usually known for bringing us elevated horror, which is something that, quite frankly, I'm kind of tired of. I feel like that we need to get back to basics. And every now and then they'll bring out one of these, quote, elevated horror films that I really enjoy. But the question is, did Undertone fall into that category? Does it go into that realm where I feel like it is very smart, very well written, and very well executed? And I'm happy to say, I think it is. So starting out with the positives, I think that the cast is pretty damn good here. There's only really 3 cast members here. You have Nina Curie, who plays Evie. She is our main character and our pretty much the focus of this movie. And then you have Michelle Duquette, who plays her dying mother. She doesn't really have many dialogue lines, but she is there pretty much just bedridden and dying the entire time. And then you have Adam DeMarco, who plays her podcast host, and he's really only there in voice. He's never there physically. But the standout has to be Nina Curie. She does a great job of portraying the character of Nina. You have this character who is pretty much going through the stages of grief before the untimely death of her mother. She is dealing with the weight of having to not only take care of her ailing mother, but also watching her die right before her eyes. She also seems to have had a past problem with addiction, and she seemingly has a relationship that is crumbling before her, and she finds out that she is also pregnant. And none of this is spoilers. It's not really affecting the plot that much at all, but it is one of those things that it's a lot of stuff that they lay on this character, and instead of making her this blubbering mess that just is quite frankly whiny, she is actually a pretty real world interpretation of how someone would deal with all these things, where she is compartmentalizing everything, doesn't want to talk about it, just wants to shove it all her feelings and her emotions down, doesn't want to deal with certain situations that has to deal with those subject matters. And I think that Nina Curie did a great job of portraying that. I also find that her facial expressions, her reactions to everything that is going on around her are very organic feeling. Like you can genuinely feel the fear and the torment and the terror that she is witnessing as all of this stuff is happening around her. And I thought that she did a really good job of portraying those just by with facial expressions. I also think that she does a really good job of playing her role on her podcast in that world, where she is not just this skeptic that is just absolutely annoying and doesn't believe anything. She's actually coming at things from a logical standpoint and actually trying to get to the bottom of things. And it was really good to see her go from being a skeptic to someone who is locked in and legitimately trying to figure out what is going on with these recordings that they received through their email. These next 2 positives kind of go hand in hand. I think that using the device of a podcast, a paranormal / true crime podcast, to be the device and vessel in which they empower the sound design was a brilliant idea. I think that was executed almost flawlessly as well. They have every element here that would go into that type of a platform. And I thought that the banter between her and Adam DeMarco's character, as well as the way that they show their media through having on-screen email and on-screen like articles and stuff, I thought that that was all very well done and very organically done. And segueing right into the sound design, this is the reason to see this movie, in my opinion. The sound design in this movie is absolutely incredible. And it's not just because the sound is so enhanced and so well done in that regard. It is the way that it is executed. Like, the moment that she takes her noise-canceling headphones and puts them on her head, it puts you in that world. You hear this kind of droning tone, and then boom, you're in the world that they want you to be in. And it does so damn good at building this suspense, because you are hearing all of these noises and everything going through these recordings, but also it's going all around you in the theater. And I think that seeing this in a theater will give you the true experience that they are actually wanting you to have. But it was awesome. I saw this in AMC Prime Theater, and man, the sound like just went all around the theater, all behind you, in front of you, everywhere, to where you felt like you had those headphones on as well, like you were sitting right there with the character. And I thought that that was incredible. And although that I don't think that is something that I've never experienced before, but oftentimes I really look at the cinematography as being one of the most important parts of a movie. It can sometimes make or break the experience for you, and this is one of the best examples I can give you where the sound design truly makes the movie. It's something that I guess I really kind of took for granted before, because the only other example recently that I've had with really good sound design in a film that actually enhanced that experience for me was Bring Her Back. Like, you didn't have to see what was going on the screen. You could hear it, and you knew what the hell was going on, and without even laying your eyes on it. And I feel like that they did such a spectacular job with that, conveying, like, from people allegedly running around on the top floor of the house to something getting knocked off behind you, to a voice coming from here, and here, all at the same time. It was an experience. Going right over to the cinematography, for a movie that is very, very sound focused, I felt like the cinematography was so damn good as well. It had these moments where you've seen it before in countless horror movies, where the camera is focused on the person on the screen, and then behind them something is out of focus, and you don't know what it is, but you know it's coming towards the character. So it's building that suspense the whole time, but they did something different this time. They had you focused on the character that was before you on the screen, but they didn't completely have that one thing behind them unfocused. And it really gave you a sense of dread along with the sound design. Like, they both just worked hand in hand. Not only that, normally I don't like movies with a lot of flashing lights and crazy camera angles and crazy perspectives. I like it when it's done well, but a lot of times it's not done well. And there was a point in the movie where stuff kind of got crazy with the camera that I did not think was going to work, and ended up enhancing that moment even more for me. I don't think that you can find two better examples in a recent release that does it like Undertone does it, as far as sound design and cinematography working hand in hand and doing just this perfect synergy. Now, for me, I am a horror veteran. I legitimately watch 90% horror. That's just my thing. And it's really hard for a movie to get under my skin or scare me. But I can tell you this movie did not scare me. Not many movies scare me, but when I tell you that it was definitely very, very suspenseful. They do a great job of building this tension through the sound design, through the cinematography, through facial expressions with the character. They weren't teaching necessarily a masterclass with that, but I was on the edge of my seat at some point trying to figure out what the hell was going to happen next, because it got crazy at one point in this movie where the shit hits the fan and you don't know what's going to happen next, but you're literally glued to the screen, paying attention the entire time, trying to figure out what is about to happen, because you know that something terrible was going to happen. And that's particularly impressive because this movie is a slow burn. And normally slow burn movies don't work. That's usually a negative that I give a movie that is considered a slow burn. But I didn't feel the runtime of this movie. I felt like this movie ran very swiftly and very smoothly. And I think it has a lot to do with how good they presented the tension and the suspense in the movie. And the final positive I'm giving here is the little bit of lore that we are given here, I think is pretty damn good. It's something that is very piecemeal together, and you get it in little bits and pieces throughout the movie, but it reminded me a lot of the Blair Witch Project. And that's kind of crazy because this is not a found footage film, and it just felt like, I don't know how to explain it, but for some reason this drew a lot of parallels to the Blair Witch for me, where all the horror is like, a lot of it is implied and not in your face. It's either obscured by something else or shot from a different angle to where you don't see the horror, but it's all definitely there. It was kind of cool to see that they did something in a different way, and I never thought I'd say that it reminded me of the Blair Witch, but it did, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. Moving on to the mix section, I did enjoy the little bits and pieces of lore that we got, but once the entity in this movie is finally revealed, I wanted a little bit more out of that reveal. I didn't necessarily need to see this big physical presence of this entity, but I wanted to see something in front of me that was going to give me that big payoff. Like, we have gotten this buildup of this entity this entire time, and it kind of didn't give me that it was hyping me up for. And it wasn't horrible, which is why it's in the mix section, but I just wanted a little bit more. Moving on to the negatives, and I only have two here. There's one thing that I'm very unsure about, and that's, is this experience going to transfer to home video and have the same effect that it did in the theater? Because I don't know if that's going to be the case. If you have a state-of-the-art sound system at your house and you can mimic that wall-to-wall sound that a theater can give you, then I think you're going to get that same experience. But I don't think everyone has that. If you're watching this just on a regular flat-screen TV, I don't think that you're going to feel that. I don't think it's going to give you the same atmosphere, the same ambiance that it did for me when I saw it in theaters. And that's something that will diminish the effect that this movie gives. And finally, my final negative is the ending was extremely weak. It's one of those endings that everything is spiraling out of control. Everything's coming to a head. And then you get a type of Sopranos type ending. I'm going to leave it at that when it comes to the description. And I didn't think that it was absolute blasphemy, and it didn't completely ruin the film for me, but I needed more than what they did. I think that was the one thing that made this movie cement itself as, hey, this is A24. Because A24 is known for being a little pretentious at times, frankly, most of the time. And that ending to me was the one big crime of pretension that it had, if that makes any sense. It was like the art house way of ending the movie instead of giving us this definitive answer, this definitive ending that we wanted. It gave us this, oh, look how smart we are ending. And I don't think it worked for me at all. And I do think that brought the score down for me a little bit because they just couldn't help themselves. They had to do that little bit of art house thing just to give us all the, oh, you're watching elevated horror vibe. And again, I think A24 is at its best when it's not putting that at the forefront. But overall, guys, I've really enjoyed Undertone. I thought that it was very unique. I thought it was very effective in how it delivered its scares. I thought it was very effective with its sound design and cinematography, working in perfect synergy. And I think that some of the lore was pretty damn cool. I just really wish they would have stuck the ending, and I don't know if this experience is going to translate well to a home video setting. But I think that you should check it out, and if you get a chance to watch it in theaters, that is the time I would go see it, because it's going to give you that experience that they intended you to have. So with all that being said, Undertone gets a 4 out of 5 and is Grizzly grade guaranteed. Go give it a shot. It's not one of those super pretentious A24 movies. It is experimental. It is one of those movies that is very unique and delivering you a different experience. And I think that if you give it a shot, you should at least mildly enjoy it. But for me, it was a pretty cool experience in the theaters. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for your continued support and patience. Without y'all, this channel isn't possible. And if you like this video, like it. And if you like it enough, please head over to the channel, hit the subscribe and bell button so you never miss a video. Also, please follow me on all social media platforms so you can get channel updates, movie news, and all forms of badassery. If you click right here, you'll get my Scream 7 review. And if you click right there, you'll get all of my other Grizzly grade reviews. So until next time, remember, I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.